Hi guys, आज मैं आपके लिए एक सरप्राइज लेके Now going on to the placement process.
Yeah, so
So how can I get to your position? What's the roadmap to get to where you are?
so the first thing that I would like to tell you is not to directly jump into one map.
So you were in IIT Bombay, right?
Yeah.
So how were your 4 years in IIT Bombay? Like, what's the best memory you had there?
That would be when I got selected.
Like, what's the salary package range if you're okay with sharing? Just a range, maybe, if not the exact
Yeah,
figure.
yeah. So first I'll tell you the range for my batch. Okay, so
Hi guys, आज मैं आपके लिए एक सरप्राइज लेके It's a home invasion and we're invading the home of somebody special. So are you ready? I am Nishita and you're watching GeeksforGeeks. Now, without further ado, let's go. Hello, I'm Nishita and how's it been today? Okay,
Yeah.
so could you give us your name?
so I'm there, Junjunwala.
Ooh, that's a pretty unique name.
Yeah.
And could you tell us what do you do for a living?
So I'm actually working in a company called Sprinklr. I'm working as a AI researcher. Yeah.
Okay, before we begin anything, could you give us a quick flash of here?
So this is one section of my hall.
That's nice.
You
It's
got the
cozy.
sofa, these tables, all of this. This is our dining cum study tables.
Oh,
Yeah, which we never used for dining yet.
yeah, that's a very engineer thing. I think.
Not used for studying as well yet. I like the kitchen look, so I actually like to see as well as my flatmate. Where we go next? We can go to my room next.
Oh wow, that is actually pretty new.
Actually, we go blue theme.
A lot of Apple I see. So can we see your tech gadgets now?
Definitely,
Oh,
I'm
you're
really
good.
excited about my like gadgets.
Uh-huh.
So I'll put them all in the center.
Oh wow,
Get them
that's a
one
lot of
by
fun.
one. Yeah. So we start off with the main thing, the laptop.
You
so
got this
we
from the
got
company?
this laptop from we got this from the company, and this is my laptop, which I used in my college, as well as the cooling fan. So we move on to my smartwatch, which I've had since a while. I had it since my old phone, and zoomed into it. I like this dial. It like retains.
Now going on to the placement process and like your interview process. So how did you get placed with Sprinklr and how was the placement journey that you had?
Yeah. So actually, I interned at Sprinklr last year for a couple of months, 2 months, and then I got a pre-placement offer. So there are 2 ways you could get placed. Actually, 3 ways, but I'll tell you all 3. So one is that you get an internship and you work at the company for 2 months, and then they tell you whether you get a return offer or no. Second way is placements. 4th year में when you are in the second last semester, तभी placements होता है. So that is where companies come one by one.
Yeah.
And the third way is you can approach companies externally and tell them कि I want a job. And then if they like your resume, वो लोग आपका interview लेंगे and you can get placed like that.
Have you ever faced rejections when you applied to companies and all? And how did it feel like and how did you bounce back?
Yeah, I tell you. So this is exactly what happened. Sprinklr was my 3rd interview in internship season. I had gotten shortlisted for 2 other interviews. And the mistake I did there, in my preparation, I did not create a formal document. Whatever I was preparing in my head. And I was appearing for the internship directly. So what happened was, I was fumbling a little bit. I was trying to remember stuff that was in my resume, projects that I've done. You might have done them 1 year pehle. So what I did for Sprinklr was, I after facing rejection in these 2 interviews, I made a doc. मेरे हर एक resume के project में I made a doc say कि what I did, how I did. मेरा HR round का मैंने document बनाया, strengths, weaknesses. अगर एक बार लिख लेते हैं, then it comes to your arm directly. And that is why my Sprinklr interview went really well, and that is how.
Now we're gonna go on to how many coding campuses do you know and which ones do you?
Right. So, basic thing that programmers realize once they start learning computer languages is that if you learn one language, you can learn
Switch.
any language actually. So, I've worked on in like C++, Python, C, Java, R, and maybe a couple more which I don't remember. Like SQL is not really a language,
But
but
you
it's on
have
that.
a fair idea of it. अभी तो you had grades, right?
Yeah.
पर अगर आपको first year पे वापस जाना पड़ता Like some skill जो आप चाहते कि आप first year से सीख रहे होते हैं कि आजकल के students को सीखनी चाहिए rather than focusing on the traditional skills that we are forced to learn through the college degree.
Something that we are forced to learn, but yet people don't learn is that CGPA really matters. Or CPI really matters. People think it doesn't matter, but it matters. And another thing that I would change is that I did not play sports for almost like a year and a half in college, and I would suggest to people that you need to find time for extracurricular activities, and once you are able to make that balance, you'll be able to make a balance further in your life too.
But if we go more skill centric in this, like what skills would you particularly say कि this is something जो आपको सीखनी चाहिए, जैसे आप मॉडर्न स्टार्ट करोगे आप AI तो ज़्यादा है. If we go more towards skill wise, तो उसमें what would you suggest?
So a skill that I did not learn, I was not aware actually because of the online semester, is that we should start preparing for DSA and not exactly competitive programming, but the discrete data structures part early on, because that gives us more time to prepare and not directly before the internship season.
Firstly, we would like to now talk a bit about your job. So what exactly do you do? You're being AI engineer, right? So what exactly do you do?
So what I do is I make AI solutions for our clients. So for example, if a bank requires a chatbot, so you must have heard of those old customer care helpline numbers which says इसके लिए 0 दबाइए, इसके लिए 1 दबाइए, इसके लिए, and it goes till 9. And then many times it happens कि you're on that call for half an hour, तो फिर कट जाता है call.
It's a pain in the ass.
This is the worst thing in the world. So what we do is, आप directly मेरे को message बोलो और मैं AI से उसको categorize कर दूँगा कि which category does this belong to. I'll directly transfer you to that customer care person.
Okay, you mentioned making projects and I could forget the projects you do, right? So what should students keep in mind when they're making projects, and like some ideas or recommendations you'd like to take?
So I would suggest when you're making a project, really do the project on your own. It takes a little bit more time and a little more effort, but the satisfaction that you get after completing it and the learning that you get, what I told you about forgetting the projects is just the details from the top. But as soon as I read what I've done once, it comes right back to me. And I would suggest not to take projects from GitHub or from other sources and to build it on your own. You will get resources on the internet that will help you. But yeah, that is something that will stay with you for a long.
The last question for this section would be, suppose I'm a freshman, study starts, right? I'm working and I just got into BTech. So how can I get to your position? What's the roadmap to get to where you are?
So the first thing that I would like to tell you is not to directly jump into one map and to try out multiple maps together. And maybe in the second year or third year, choose one map especially. Or else, if you just try to jump into AI in the first year thinking that everybody likes AI, and maybe in the third year you realize that you don't really like AI, there will be
Switching.
So I would suggest you to do a beginner course of multiple different fields, maybe like blockchain, maybe a introductory course on machine learning on Coursera, and maybe a web developing course, and all of this. And you can choose what you really like the best. So for my role especially, there's a really cool course on machine learning by Andrew NG on Coursera. Yeah, it's very, very famous. I think that's the first course one should do. But you should also read about stuff that he's talking about on Google, because he tells a lot of things simplistically and does not explain few of the topics, which once you Google, you really master it out.
So we've had a long round. Let's take a break now.
I have an idea.
Okay, yeah.
How about we make some tea? How does that sound?
That sounds amazing. Let's
Now
make
look
some
at
tea.
my kitchen too and my amazing cooking skills.
So let's see आप कितनी अच्छी चाय बनाते हो.
Yes, I have a lot of pressure. Do you all want like kadak chai or like light chai?
I want chai.
Chai.
Any chai works. Chai is chai. What's the one skill that's required the most in your job?
Yeah, I think not giving up, like you have to try again and again and again if some piece of code doesn't work. It does get fixed, so you have to give it time. So being patient is, I guess, one down.
What's the one thing you hate about your job?
So one thing I hate about my job is probably that it is monotonous and there's a hierarchical structure and like I would like to make my own decisions one day maybe.
And what is the most expensive thing that you've bought with your salary?
Oh, I actually plan to buy the most expensive thing yet, and that will be like a pair of Jordans.
And what is the most irritating thing about your office?
The most irritating thing about my office is the fact that we don't have a nap room yet. Yes.
That does make sense.
Because we feel really drowsy after lunch. Really drowsy.
And one last thing before we go and take a chai somewhere else. Work from office or work from home?
Work from office for me.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah,
Like,
so
people prefer their homes.
I prefer office. So last year during my internship, we had an option of whether we wanted to work from home 3 times a week, but I chose to go to office 5 times a week because I thought I'm more productive there. If I have to work, then might as well work fast in office and come back home early, do something else that you like.
Understandable.
I feel you should keep the workspace separate from the personal space.
Okay, and professional and personal should be separate. Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, so.
Oh, look at
Whoa.
And now we're done with the chai. Now we're done with the chai. Thank you.
Got the chai ready?
So you were in IIT Bombay, right?
Yeah.
So how were your 4 years in IIT Bombay? Like, what's the best memory you had there?
That would be when I got selected to represent my college in the Inter-IIT Sports Festival.
So cool. For what sport?
So for athletics, 100 meters and 200 meters. So it was my dream since I think the 11th grade to represent IIT Bombay in this fest.
Wow.
So it is actually an all India competition where people come from all IITs all over India, and the competition is crazy. It is the atmosphere is crazy. It is like Olympics in IITs. It is literally Olympics of the IITs.
Understandable.
The day I got selected, that was my best moment.
Now, one thing I'd like to ask is the expectation versus reality. मतलब ऐसा क्या हुआ जो आप like expectations लेके गए थे IIT के बारे में, you know, the tag, and then you realize कि नहीं ऐसा तो नहीं है यहाँ पे.
So one
like,
thing that I thought that would be in IIT is that people just run behind money. But I realized that that is not the case. And now that I look back, I also personally feel that money is not the end goal, and you should be happy in what you're doing, and you should do something that you enjoy, which is not what I had expected, because people just kept saying that you do computer science and you'll get a high paying job, and
which you did, by the way. Which you did. Which brings me to my next question. Like, what's the salary package range, if you're okay with sharing? Just a range, maybe, if not the exact figure.
So first I'll tell you the range for my batch. Okay, so it's very varied. There are people who are earning in crores
Oh my
per
god.
year, and there are people who are earning like 5 to 10 lakhs per year too.
Okay.
So there is a huge parity. I think the tech companies, major tech companies like Sprinklr, Google and all, they all pay between 20 to 35, 25 to 35. It's between that range, I would say.
CTC you talking
Yeah.
about, right? Not in hand.
Yeah.
Now, what's the most useless thing about your degree? Like, absolutely unnecessary.
I would say there is this course on environmental science.
Oh my god, I'm taking that right now.
That is the worst thing ever that I have done. I hate it. But we have
It's safe to
go
say
through
now because you're out of college.
But we have to go through it.
So, what does a weekday look like for you?
So a weekday typically starts off with me waking up in the morning, and I have recently, after my mother pestering me for the last 1 year, I've started trying to do a little bit of yoga in the morning.
Understandable.
Like taking a quick shower and then leaving for work. I go by metro. We reach office, have breakfast, so we get breakfast in office. It's really cool that we get that. So yeah, and then we start working. We have a couple of meets with the manager, discussing what we need to do next, what we have done. Get on to the lunch break, and lunch break is fun because you have friends from all different teams who you meet during lunch, and so you talk about their teams. Key phase is the after lunch phase when you're a little bit drowsy.
Understandable.
Yeah, but we get through that. A coffee maybe, and that proceeds to evening. So there's dinner in my office, but I choose not to have dinner in my office, and I try to leave around 6:37, and most of the days I try to either go to the gym or either play a sport because
That's a good alternative.
Yeah, I don't like to go to the gym daily. Like I personally like playing sports, so I get to go swimming, squash, badminton. So I'm trying all sports right now. Like,
And then what does your weekend look like?
actually, we try to play more on weekends since we have the time, and we take it easy on the work aspect. We usually do not have work on weekends.
You know, there are times जब आपका कोड वर्क नहीं करता है, रन नहीं करता है, and there's just errors and errors. तो आपका क्या रिएक्शन होता है उस पर?
You actually, there's a very nice meme for this. It says, "My code is not working. I don't know why. I have no idea why." And then the next picture is my code is working and I have no idea why.
That's relatable. That is relatable. So corporate versus startup. Like, what's your call?
My call is startup, and Sprinklr itself is a corporate, but it has a very nice startup culture. Like,
Okay.
we have a lot of responsibility. So the problem that maybe the director or the associate director gives us to the manager and to us, we are directly working with the problem. We are not working with a small subset of the problem. So it's
That's actually
literally
like
a
startup culture all over there.
I prefer that because like I told you, I like to take my own decisions and not just listen to something that somebody is saying.
What is the biggest myth people have about SDE?
So the biggest myth that I think people have about SDE is that you learn a lot if you just get into SDE, but it's not that case. Like, and the myth that people think that the big companies like Google, Amazon, and all they pay like crazy amounts of money. I feel that is also not the case.
Right.
It all starts pretty gradually, especially in India. So. Yeah, that is something that I feel is a myth.
Okay, so this is a fun round and we'll ask you questions. You'll have to answer jaldi whatever comes to your mind. Okay, favorite movie or web series?
So my favorite web series would be Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh, good choice. I really love that sitcom too.
Yeah, and my favorite movie would be I think Life of Pi.
What is the last song you listened to?
The last song I listened to
you
was
played it in there. Go on.
Which do?
Hobbies apart from coding and apart from sports, since you've mentioned it multiple times.
Trekking, definitely.
Trekking. Have you done it like enough of it around here? Or?
Yeah, so I've done a couple of treks in the north. I've done one in the northeast. Meghalaya, super beautiful.
That's super
done
amazing.
in Maharashtra.
Like staying fit and doing tech like goes hand in hand, I feel now. If not an engineer, who would you rather be?
So yeah, I would definitely
Handball.
be a sports person. Yep.
Aha. What's one funny incident that happened in your office?
In my office? Oh, so that is very embarrassing, very embarrassing. We were setting up my house and we had to order a tawa for the kitchen.
Yeah.
And we ordered it to the office because we are at office on the weekdays. But it did not come in an Amazon packaging. He handed me the tawa, which I had to take in the lift. I had to walk around office.
Nice accessory to carry around if you're an engineer.
Very embarrassing.
And suppose you have a crush on your senior, how are you going to approach her?
So is this a college senior or an office senior?
How about we do one of both? Right.
So if it's a college senior, I'll probably look for something common that we both do. I don't like to be direct. So maybe the thing that we're doing together, the common thing, I'll get to know her and I'll start talking, I guess.
Oh yeah, just freestyle.
Yup.
And if it's an office senior?
Then I won't do anything.
Oh, a good idea. A very good idea, I feel. Okay, now we have the last thing here, which is dares. So we have 2 dares for you, which you cannot say no to.
Oh, what dare would I do?
Okay, so what is the last thing you searched on your internet Chrome history? And you'll have to show us that.
What did I search? I don't know what I searched.
Okay, let's see.
Oh God.
That's pretty much of a good topic, I feel, like with her being everywhere, and I really wish it turns out in a favor.
Yeah. First dare was safe. I was safe.
The second dare that we have is the last question you asked ChatGPT. And you'll have to show us that.
It'll be something boring from college or from office. I also was searching for so the introductory training that we have to do in office. I was asking the questions over here rather than solving them myself.
Oh yeah, that's a very relatable thing, I feel. So what are you looking forward to in your future? Like salary hike, enjoying times, any goals?
So salary hike is not really my goal. My goal is maybe to lead some project on my own, or maybe start up something of my own. Basically make my own decisions, like I've said multiple times.
Basically, get on the top of the system or make the system maybe.
Maybe.
That's super cool. Life lessons that you learned in college? Quick tips?
One of the life lessons I've learned is that it's very important the people that you hang out with, the network that you make, and the friends that you make are really important.
And the last question for today, for all our audience and viewers, do you have any advice for the students that are watching this video?
I would suggest to them to make a structured path and not to blindly do any resource that they see on the internet, any video that they see, not to just follow it blindly, but to make a structured approach, a timeline, and not be too strict on themselves, and to do things that you love, because that will help them keep the system flowing and not too stressed out. So
That's a great tip. Thank you so much for having us.
Yes.
And it was amazing to invade your house.
it is too good.